Mogul drove 200 miles on only 2 gallons of gasoline. Royal.
All right, everybody. Hope everybody's doing great out there tonight. It's beautiful here in Sweet Home, Alabama. And that last song was Dax, God's Eyes. And the first one, of course, was Forrest Frank, Your Way. Or Your Way's Better. And we're just going to jump right into it tonight. He was like, try to get on here and, play a couple songs, try to do this and that. I really kind of want to jump into it so I can prove my points. And, I'm sorry I took the comments off there tonight. I just couldn't. I'm trying to get to what I'm trying to say here, and I love, sharing a conversation with everybody, Goodness. Met a lot of cool people here, especially just on YouTube itself. And content creators and just, just people that's just spectating, right? All of them good people. All right, so we all know the famous verse from Jesus, right? Matthew chapter 24. Let's see here. Yeah, I used to have just a notebook. Now I can carry an entire backpack full of my, my notes and really what I'm studying at this time. Because, I couldn't take everything that I had with me because, take the suitcases. But, let's see here. All right, probably should just leave that open. Okay, so, about to prove my point here. Like I said, this is probably one of the most famous verses that you know from Matthew chapter 24, right? Everybody knows this. Let's see here. Let's see here. It says, I guess we'll start with verse 36. That's usually where it seems like where everybody starts at. So, we know. Let's see here. Actually, you know what? It might probably be best just to go ahead and do the whole thing here, right? Okay, so, and I just read this the other night, so I'm pretty fresh on it. I should be able to go through it pretty quickly. All right, so. Okay, so Matthew chapter 24, right? So after Jesus left the temple, his disciples came over and said, "Look at all these buildings." So, Jesus replied, "Do you see all these buildings? They will certainly be torn down. Not one stone will be left in place," Jesus told them. So later, as Jesus was sitting on the Mount of Olives, his disciples came to him in private and asked, when will this happen? When will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the world? Excuse me. So Jesus answered and said, "Don't let anyone fool you. Many will come and claim to be me. They will say that they are the Messiah, and they will fool many people. That's crazy right there, right? If I don't describe, like, and I really hate to even be that way, man, but, really, if you could sit down with every Muslim in the world right now, right, and look them in the eye and tell them the truth, be like, look, man, Jesus Christ is not only the Messiah, he's the Son of the living God, right? He's the King of Kings, Lord of Lords. He was the Word made flesh and dwelt among us, And we know that he died on the cross, and on the third day he was risen again, right? And he sits at the right hand side of the God, right hand side of God, and we know that he received the scrolls. You know what I mean? He was the only one worthy was the Lamb. And we know that John the Baptist said that Jesus was the Lamb of God who took the sin away from the world, man. So, I can't remember where else does it, I think it's right here. I don't know why I always forget that it's in Galatians. Paul said in chapter 3, verse 11, but that no man is justified by the law in the sight of God. It is evident, for the just shall live by faith. And the law is not of faith, but the man that does them shall live in them. Christ has redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us. For it is written, cursed is everyone that, hangs on the cross, right? It says the blessing of Abraham might come unto the Gentiles through Jesus Christ, that we might receive the promise of the Spirit through faith. So, I feel like a lot right here, because he says that, don't let anyone fool you. He said they will come and claim to be me. And I'm telling you, dude, there's something definitely up. Because, Islam, it says Jesus is supposed to come back and crush the cross, man, you know what I mean? And, supposed to convince everybody that, hey, this is right. But, dude, it's not, man. I'm telling you, dude, that what I've seen and what I've read, obviously, it all points to what Jesus said, man. You know what I mean? And this is the only thing I've really studied out this whole time. And he goes on to say that soon you will hear about wars and rumors of wars, right? Threats of wars. He said, don't be afraid. These things will have to happen first. But that isn't the end. Nations and kingdoms will go to war against each other. People will starve to death, and in some places there will be earthquakes. But this is just the beginning of troubles. You'll be arrested, punished, and even killed. Because of me, you will be hated by the people of all nations. Many people will give up and betray and hate each other. Many false prophets will come and fool a lot of people. Evil will spread and cause many people to stop loving each other. But if you keep on being faithful right to the end, you will be saved. And dude, that's what I'm trying to tell you, dude. He's trying to tell you right there, man, that you do not want to go through what these people are going to go through, the tribulation period. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, dude, that great tribulation is going to be terrible, man. Dude. And that's what kills me about a lot of people, how they're like, hey, you know, I'll go the next round. I was trying to say, you might, but I'm telling you, dude, it's going to be so bad that I'm telling you, man, you wouldn't believe how many people are going to turn to the beast, you know, and it talks about prophecies, talking about, you know, 1/3 of Israel will be, you know, will be taken by the beast, you know what I mean? Will turn over, I guess, you know, will give in at that time, right, over that tribulation. I feel like that's the Christians, you know what I mean? Like I said, man, I've checked it down to all the way to what Paul said and everybody said. In the end, I don't care what anybody says, when they're talking about the church and the woman in the book of Revelation, and, you know, when it's talking about Israel, you know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong. When it's talking about the 12 tribes of the 144,000, of course it's talking about the, you know, 12 tribes of Jacob. You know what I mean? Obviously, it couldn't be talking about nothing else. You know, it'd be crazy to even think that, you know what I mean? After reading the entire book of Revelation, you know, you'd just be denial like the Jehovah's Witnesses, right? Yeah, Lord forgive me. I'm just trying to say, but that's what they think, though. You know, it's going to be a chosen 144. No, it's 144,000 Jews that after the two witnesses preach, you know, they get saved after the rapture, man. I'm telling you. And, you know, they preach through tribulation and God protects them. You know what I'm saying? But either way you look at it, I mean, what I'm trying to tell people about what it means in Daniel chapter 7 verse 25, Revelation chapter 12 verse 14, still talks about there's going to be 1,260 days of when a lot of this is going to go down. And I'm just trying to say, dude, it's crazy. But anyways, he said, and you will be, you know, saved if you stay faithful right up to the end, right? And Jesus said, when the good news about the kingdom has been preached all over the world and told to all nations, the end will come. This is another prophecy of the Philadelphia church, the missionary church. And what I'm trying to tell you, that this is I'm telling you, man, it's like a timeline in Revelation 2 and 3. I'm telling you, dude. Check it out yourself. And I'm telling you. Right there, he's saying it. And right, that is the missionary age. Because I'm telling you, the gospel has been preached around the world, man. I don't care what nobody says. With all the missionaries for the last 100 years or so, heck, say 125 years, really. You know, it probably happened at the beginning of the 1900s, you know what I mean? Okay, then, right? He said, someday you will see that horrible thing in the holy place. Just as the prophet Daniel said, right? Everyone who reads this must try to understand. If you are living in Judea at that time, run into the mountains. If you're on the roof, you know, of your house, don't go inside to get anything. And we know, obviously, right here, this is the Roman Empire, right? You know, when they destroy the temple. And I got to get my notes out. I'm telling you, dude, I'm about to lay it down tonight. I ain't got nothing else to do. I just figured it'd be cool. So, and at this point, I believe a lot of us talking about, going back to Nero and all that, dude. I'm telling you, it's like, Jesus is describing the whole age at this point, man. You know what I'm saying? He's just going through. And so I feel like, right, and considering Daniel chapter 7, verse 25, Revelation chapter 12, verse 14. So, in Daniel chapter 7, verse 25, the verse states that the little horn, the Antichrist, right, will persecute the saints for a times, 3.5 years, 1,260 days. Commonly interpreted, as 3.5 years. So, mid-trip argue that if the rapture was pre-trip, right, there would be no saints left on earth for the Antichrist to wear out during this period. See, to me, that's strange already, because even if it's talking about protecting them, but it's still saying for 1,260 days. We know that don't happen until the tribulation, and that would still back it up also. So, the time span consistency, both Daniel chapter 7, referring to the little horn, and Revelation chapter 12, verse 14, referring to the woman protected from the dragon, described as a period of 1,260 days, times, and half time, represents 3.5 years. The midpoint events, Daniel chapter 12, verse 11 mentions 1,290 days, right? Which some interpret as 38 days beyond a 1,260 period, marking the abomination and desolation, right? That triggers the second half of the 7-year period. This aligns with the midpoint rapture. That's what I'm trying to say, dude. It's insane. People don't want to believe me, but I'm just trying to say. Okay. And one of the key terms of this, and I've been talking about it forever since I first read Daniel chapter, or excuse me, not Daniel, but Matthew chapter 24, right? I mean, dude, I've been studying Matthew chapter 24 since like the first year into it. I don't even know why I was so. Okay, so. And I guess because I looked it up, knew this is where Jesus was talking about the end times. I imagine I looked it up, Everybody does, right? All right. So, we know, right? We got the first 7 seals and trumpets in Revelation represent progressive end time judgments, right? You got the seals 1 through 4 release the 4 horsemen. Conquest, war, famine, death. Seals 5 and 6 bring martyr cries, the massive earthquake and cosmic chaos. And the 7th seal introduced the 7 trumpets, with the 7th trumpet signaling the final kingdom. Okay. And see, a lot of this that I'm coming up with, I don't even know why I was thinking this before. And all of a sudden, like, I just got to wonder, I was like, does anybody out there, think the same thing that I'm thinking right here? And dude, not only Isaac Newton, but there's several other, like, not only the church age theory that I have, but also aligns with what Isaac Newton was trying to come up with all that stuff that he was talking about. A lot of it goes to math, right? And, luckily enough for me, the good Lord might, help me, have the ability to be good at math, which probably benefited me a lot in my life. Okay, so I'm about to get me a cup of coffee too, so I'm gonna get some more music jamming. And if you ever watch these replays of these videos, you probably won't see these songs in here because a lot of them I got to cut out because of copywriting. I just really like the jams, I mean, if I got to cut them out, I'm cool with that. Ain't gonna bother me. And if you want to listen to any of these songs, you can find them on my channel, on my music playlist under gospel music. 2000.
We have got to the point where literally anybody,
which I need to change 2026, don't I?
can build a fully working app without knowing how to code. This is based.
Sorry about that. All right, let's see here. Let's get something going. So maybe. And I've had a couple different songs I've really been jamming to, man. It's just like, man, it's just my jam. All right, so this is Rare Breed, Need You Again. I just love the song. I've been jamming to it. I'm about to get my cup of coffee.
Talk to a friend. I got some things inside my life. Oh, I'm struggling within. I had no peace in my mind. I feel I'm reaching in. Oh Lord, I need you again. Oh Lord, I need you again. I'm trying to pick up all the pieces, but don't know where to start. If you can't change the situation, make a change in my heart. Need you to show me a sign. Need you to tighten the lens. Oh Lord, I need you again. Oh Lord, I need you again. To pick up the pieces I left on the table, put them together. I know that you're able. I don't have to understand every detail, how it plays out when I know that you're faithful. Time and time again, I've been at the end of the road. Stuck at the bottom, I didn't have no hope. It's a prayer when I have to put a pen to the note. It's a gift, the only way that I found I cope. Oh Lord, life's been tough in the household. Trying to be the father and the husband I need to be. Got me walking through the valley of the shadows. All laid out, you got everything I need to see. From a destiny, you know it's best for me. You got a recipe, one nothing less for me. Every enemy that tries to come around, you gon' sit them all down and remind you who has a seat. You're still on the throne, right hand of the Father, and no one can fathom. There in the beginning, you gave me a promise, no one else can have them. You're still on the throne, right hand of the Father, and no one can fathom. There in the beginning, you gave me a promise, no one else can have them. Got up this morning, hit my knees, I need to talk to a friend. I got some things inside my life, oh, I'm struggling within. I had no peace in my mind, I feel I'm reaching in. Oh Lord, I need you again. Oh Lord, I need you again. I'm trying to pick up all the pieces, but don't know where to start. If you can't change the situation, make a change in my heart. Need you to show me a sign. Need you to tighten the lens. Oh Lord, I need you again. Oh Lord, I need you again. To fix my focus, I've been all over the place. I need you to reel me in. Don't wanna waste the time that you gave me, Lord. You did it before, you can do it again. I need to have moments of clarity, walking in faith when I know that you're walking ahead of me. I know that this is a rarity. Give me the strength to reach people before they all bury me. I don't think we understand how deep it can go when we talk about love. The type of forgiveness most of us are missing. The type that you only can get from above. Don't give me the word if you ain't in it, cause the riches they give us are never enough. They'll only satisfy, only maximize, only pacify when it's rough. Got up this morning, hit my knees, I need to talk to a friend. I got some things inside my life, oh, I'm struggling within. I had no peace in my mind, I feel I'm reaching in. Oh Lord, I need you again. Oh Lord, I need you again. I'm trying to pick up all the pieces, but don't know where to start. If you can't change the situation, make a change in my heart. Need you to show me a sign. Need you to tighten the lens. Oh Lord, I need you again. Oh Lord, I need you again.
All right, everybody. A little bit of jams, you know. Alright, here. So, let's finish this off. Like I said, I ain't going to be on here too long tonight. I'm got a little bit I'm going to do on TikTok tonight also, you know, as a, you know, TikTok Friday, you know. You always get on there trying to Friday night, you know. We ain't got but a few more minutes before the, you know, Friday's over and it's starting Saturday, but okay, back to where was that though, right? So, and I kind of wanted to finish reading what Jesus said here, but let's go back to Isaac Newton, right? And back to the theories I was trying to explain to you that I believe a lot of this prophecy, you know, has to do with mathematics, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, so Isaac Newton, right? We all know who Isaac Newton is. I didn't realize until I was reading this other book, and I didn't even know about that. You know, that they, you know, thought he was practicing witchcraft because he was doing the gravity and all that. You know, coming up with all these experiments and all this and that. But really, I don't think he was. I think he was just trying to figure out everything. You know, but definitely seemed like he believed in God, and you know, he studied the Bible a lot, probably because it was so precise, calling a lot of events throughout the ages, right? And just like I believe and he believed, you know, I believe a lot of it's like a timeline, right? So, and let me explain a little bit of that. And this is what we're going to get further on into. That's what I'm saying. We're going to try to keep all these videos under 40 minutes. But this is what's to come, right? And, okay, so Isaac Newton, through his extensive study of Daniel and Revelation, concluded that biblical prophecy was a precise roadmap, right? We're talking about the guy that, you know, people still to this day use some of his laws of, you know, laws of motion and all that, right? Force. Okay, so he said that he concluded that biblical prophecy was a precise roadmap of history designed by God, ultimately predicting the world might end around 2060. He believed that these texts foretold the rise of corruption in the church, the Antichrist, right? The fall of Rome, the eventual return of Christ, right? And 1,000-year reign of the saints. So, the method of interpretation that he used, right, was a strict, systematic approach, similar to mathematics, to unlock prophecy imagery, believing that prophecies were meant to be understood to guide believers through the last age. So, the divine plan. Newton argued that prophecy was intended to demonstrate God's direct, active, and sovereign governance over history. And I agree, right? So, and I got the reason to believe, right? Okay, so, and I could sit here and break all this down, dude, and I'm telling you, it'd take me hours, but I would love to do it for anybody that's, you know, got questions about it. So, this is what we're going to be going through. I got the church age theory, right? And I believe a lot of it aligns with what Newton was thinking, so mine's different in some ways, right? Because, you know, now, hundreds of years later, you know, there's all kinds of different information. You know what I'm saying? I mean, goodness, man. You know, since Isaac Newton been here, I mean, we got all kinds of different stuff, right? So anyway, I feel like the, you know, first church is the apostolic church. You know, the Church of Ephesus, right? I believe this age of the church went from 33 to 100 AD. You know, or you know, first era, right? So, And I also believe around this time the first seal was broken and the white horse has come through, and this symbolizes the Roman Empire. I believe it symbolized the Antichrist, Nero, how he's going to persecute the Christians. Now I don't know about him coming back again, and all that, but, a lot of interesting theories, but I feel like that spirit, you know what I mean? So, let's see here. Yeah, I think through this whole out period that I'm speaking of, I feel like the two churches went through the persecution of the Roman Empire. The Ephesus church, even Peter and Paul was killed by this, in this age. And, which, all of them was, but, the disciples and all this, but, just by the Romans, right? So, and everything under Nero, right? But anyway, then you got Smyrna, the persecuted church. These people, you had the great tribulation, the great persecution, dude, during this time, man. Oh my goodness. 303 to 311. Oh my goodness, dude. They were trying to burn the scriptures, trying to destroy the word, you know what I'm saying? Then you got, and I believe, that all this goes through, to about 312, All right, and I feel like, then you got the Pergamum, the state church, 312 to 590. All kinds of stuff happened. This one, Constantine, a lot of stuff happened, man. And I'm telling you, if you read these church, where Jesus is talking to the church and sending the angel, send this message to the angel of the church of this church, that church. And I'm telling you, dude, just read it, and I'm telling you, it blew my mind. I was thinking this even before I even come up with any of this, man. I'm telling you, it's crazy. It was like, supernaturally given to me. I gotta take that hat off. I'm so sorry. Love that hat, though. My wife got it for me for my birthday. Okay, then you got Tower, right? Tower. The Middle Ages. This goes from 590 to 1517. If you read through all this, also, dude, I'm telling you, man, a lot of this talks about a lot of this is the Crusades and all this, right? Goodness, man. Crazy, dude. People want another crusade. They obviously don't know what happened in the crusade. Then you got the Church of Sardis. This is the Protestant Reformation Church, 1517 to present day. This is when you got Napoleonic Wars. All this stuff happened. I'm telling you, if you read the Church of Sardis, where the angels, where the letter's supposed to be written to the angel of the Church of Sardis, I'm telling you, dude, a few names are going to be raptured from this church. I think this is the old school church, and we know who I'm talking about. If you don't understand, you're not going to understand. And I think also the Philadelphia church, the missionary, not the new age church now. You know who I'm speaking of also, and I ain't going to get on that, Good God, I really hate to name names because you already know who I'm talking about, Joel Osteens and all them other guys, you know what I'm saying? And I really hate to even pick on Joel, that other dude, with the two planes, and then you got the guy, I can't remember his name, the California church, the gay dude, oh God, and all this stuff. And anyway, man, that church is left behind church, right? But I'm talking about, the missionary church, dedicated to God, true believers, witnessing the missionary church. And then you got some of the Reformation Protestant church that stuck to their word. And, they was true Christians also. I believe that 2 churches will be involved in the rapture. I believe. And that Church of Philadelphia, I believe, ranged from anywhere from the 1900s to today's present age. And the Reformation Church also from 1517 till, this day and age. Like I said, and I feel like, of course, the lukewarm church will be left behind, like those people I was just talking about. Lord, forgive me for saying that, but I got theories on the 2300 day prophecies in Daniel, and we're not gonna get all that now, and I feel like, because you got these 7 hills in the book of Revelation. I feel like, dude, no kidding, that a lot of it has to do. There's been 7 pacts made between the Jews and the Muslims over the years, right? 7. This last one, October 10th, would have been the 7th one. And I'm just trying to say, dude, you can't tell me that ain't strange with the 7 hills or whatever. Imagine if it was something like that. And it's crazy, Jerusalem, a lot of people. And it's crazy how, like, the internet's, like, trying to put, like, oh, it's not important right now. But I'm trying to tell you, 5,000 years that city has been taken over. How many times was it? Goodness, I don't even remember. "30 times throughout history." I mean, how many places has been conquered 30 times by 3 really major groups: the Muslims, the Christians, and the Jewish people, right? And I feel like a lot of it's centered around that. Let's see here. A lot of people don't know neither that Muslims have controlled of Jerusalem for the longest of all throughout history, totaling over 1,200 years across dynasties. I ain't gonna name them right now, and also there's 7 of them could be also the 7. I'm telling you, dude, a lot of it does point to Islam, being where the false prophet. But I'm telling you, a lot of it comes from the one world religion. I'm telling you, dude, don't get me wrong, Islam has a lot to do with it, but I feel like, they're just, sad to say, just, fooled though, right? I mean, honestly. I mean, it's sad, man. There's going to be this great battle, and, they don't realize. And see, the thing I realized, the crazy thing is that the same person is fooling all of those sides, really, you know what I mean? And only the true believers are going to overcome it, right? What we was just talking about at the beginning, what I sponsored on my channel, I got a video I sponsored. But anyways, we'll get all that later, I was trying to say, I got some possibilities of the Antichrist too. Well, we ain't gonna get on that now, dude, but I'm just trying to tell you, dude, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. Right now is a time more than ever to get right with the Lord. Today's the day you can get saved. You can be like me. I'm telling you, dude, it's awesome, man. I get on here just because I really, I feel like I just want to do something for God. I just don't want to just keep doing stuff for me, man. You know what I'm saying? I love doing stuff for our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. God so loved the world, He sent His only begotten Son. Those who believe in Jesus Christ will not perish, but have everlasting life. God did not send Jesus into the world to condemn it. He sent Him to save it. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, everybody's going to look up one day. I'm telling you, these people are going to be gone. Everybody's going to be like, man, where is everybody? And everybody's going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm going the second time. And then they go through all this terrible stuff. And you wouldn't believe how many is probably going to turn to the base, because I'm telling you, it's going to be almost intolerable, dude. But anyways, I guess we're going to have to do this in a couple more episodes. I definitely wasn't able to get in one, since I really want to go ahead and get on TikTok to get so much later. But God bless everybody. I'll see y'all next time. Appreciate everybody come out. And I'll have the comments on the next video, I promise. But I just wanted to kind of lay some groundwork down on what we're doing. And that's what we're going to be talking about, the church age theory. What mine aligns with Isaac Newton. Talk about what happened before the flood, after the flood, and why I think that we're in the days of Noah, because I'm telling you, a lot of it describes what it is now. And I can sit here and show you so many different points why I'm telling you, dude, we're definitely in the days of Noah. And it's just that apparently it's going to take a couple episodes. So, God bless y'all. I'll see y'all next time. I'm out of here.